Now, would you be able to take us through? Now, I heard in a previous interview that Coach Tomlin talked to you. This was back last year, Thursday Night Football with the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Can you take me through that conversation? Like, what was going on before that? What did the conversation mean to you? What happened after that?
So he comes up to me. So remember during that free agency, or not during the free agency, during the off-season period, because I ended up getting claimed by Carolina, and then I was there for all OTAs and minicamp, and then I was a free agent after that. But they during that process, I was doing a lot of reading, and I was reading this book about how to be a better person at work. And so it always talked about evaluations, like be honest with yourself, and then also have your boss be honest with you and go over quarterly evaluations over the year. Well, our year is broken down in 16 weeks. So I went up to him, I explained him to that, and I said, so every 4 weeks I'm going to come up to you and I'm going to ask for a true evaluation, because I was on the 53-man roster, but they were doing that because they wanted to develop me. Like, that's the only reason. Or else I would have been on the street again, just because I didn't play a single snap last year. But they wanted to develop me, and they didn't want me the same thing to happen that, happened with Cleveland. And he just told me, he said, he was telling me these things. Like, the first one was like, show me you're not, after the first 4 weeks, he said, show me that you're not like what the scouts tell me you are. You deteriorate over time. Okay, cool. So the word was deterioration. Then the next evaluation was show me that you can be accountable. Well, then, like you said, we played Carolina, I think week 7 or week 8. And he says, hey, man, tomorrow, meet me in Guy's office, the strength coach, Guimont. And at first, when I heard that, if I wasn't with the team for 8 weeks already, I would have thought I had to bring my playbook. But I could tell this was something different. And so he brings me in. He's sitting there with Guy the next day after we just got done beating Carolina. And he's sitting there, and he says, how do I turn you into a $50 million tackle? And I looked at him, and I said, I don't know. What do you think? True story. I wasn't even trying to be funny, even though he did laugh and kind of giggle, do his little chuckle. How that sounds like Moats. He does his little chuckle. And he was like, I'll tell you how. I think that you need to understand that we have a desire for you to be a Steeler. And I think that's your future, whether it's $50 million with us or $50 million with another team. You need to move out of your crappy apartment on the south side, and you need to get a house. Moats, I cried, bro. I cried. I looked at him. I just started crying, bro. And he said, we're going to sign you after the season. And me and Danger signed the day after the season was done. And he just said, this isn't any promises. You got to earn it yourself. But I think that you should stay out here during the off season. Guy will keep his hands on you. You can continue to work with your guy in terms of nutrition and things. I think you have a good standpoint on that. You've been losing a lot of weight, and you need to continue. This was like when I was 370 at the time. And then obviously going into this season, I was 340. But he just told me, bro, like for a coach, remember we talked about those evaluations and things like that, right?
Right.
I asked him, I was like, we went through like week 8 of this season. I was like, bro, with all this thing that's been happening, I forgot to ask about my quarterly evaluations. No matter how much money I make one day, I want to keep doing this because I feel like that's the only way I can get better. It's not to kiss ass. It's not to try to make him feel good about himself. It's not any of that. It's real, right? And you know what he told me week 8 of this year? I asked him, I said, what do I need to do to get better? He said, just keep doing what you're doing.
That's dope, bro. That is dope.
That right there, that just made me better. Like, that just made me, like, people get complacent, right? What's he called? He says, don't be a diabetic, right? Give you a little sugar, don't be a diabetic. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't take that for granted at all, because I've been on the street. Like, I know what that's like, and I don't want to feel that again, because we talk about this, right? Oh, he had potential. He had this. Dude, my biological dad ate himself up, and he knows that. I don't want to be like that.
Man, I think.
Why would I want to be like that?
And I think it's dope, too, that you were able to identify that so early in your career. A lot of young guys, from my experience, man, they don't see that or understand that, hey, this is a business. You have to come in and be ready to go. You have to be accountable. And if you have an issue, you got to figure out a way to fix it ASAP because you'll be out the league. Most young guys don't get that, man. So definitely, man, kudos to you for that, bro.
Appreciate that, bro.